Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today we will be covering something that we normally do in order to research our customers, especially when we have new customers on the pipeline. So basically we're going to cover what type of research we do, where we check for different elements, and what are the elements that we check in order to make sure we understand what the customer's level of experience and knowledge is. I'm Miguel from Singlot, and let's get into it. So when it comes to our customers or new customers' digital environment, what we normally focus on is the website on the one hand and their social media platforms on the other. We're going to break down everything and every element that we look for. So on the website, what we're going to start with is obviously the design, followed by the UI or the user interface. Then we're going to focus on whether or not they have any tracking implemented into their website. And finally, we'll do a quick indexing procedure that will determine whether or not the customers have indexed their website on Google. So when it comes to the design, this is a highly subjective element, but basically the whole takeaway you have to take here is that if a website looks modern, it feels snappy and nice, chances are the customer has put a lot of effort into the new website. The idea behind this is if you see there's a bit of attention put into the website, the customer understands that the website is obviously something important and not just an afterthought. So when it comes to the UI, this is obviously very linked to the design. And obviously our experience allows us to know what kind of CMS they're using, if they're using an off-the-shelf solution like WordPress, and it can also let us know whether or not that website is actually quite modern. Oftentimes we see user interfaces that are kind of archaic looking, very old, things that are not anymore in trend, and as a result that can lead us to understand that the customer has not paid attention to the website as much as they should have. The next step is tracking, and we always talk about this and we're very obsessed with it because it helps us understand if the customer has paid any attention to collecting data and what to do with it. In order for us to find whether or not a website is using any tracking, we have a separate video that you can check out about the best Chrome extensions we use. And finally, we have indexing, and what we do is a very simple procedure that will allow us to know if a website has been indexed, in this case in Google as the main search engine. And basically what this will tell us is whether or not the website is in the Google search engine. The only thing you have to do is literally go to Google and type site, semicolon, and then the website, and you'll see if that the website has been indexed. If you see that the website has been indexed, chances are the customer knows or understands or thinks that SEO is a thing that they have to take into account. If you see nothing at all, that's a bit of a red flag that indicates that the customer is not savvy enough. And then we move to the social media element of it, and obviously as any customer will do nowadays, after you've searched for their website, you'll probably go to Facebook, Instagram, if they have a YouTube channel and so forth, so that you will have a bit of a taste of what the customer is doing in the social media landscape. The first things we're gonna focus on is obviously which platforms are they present on. This is pretty self-explanatory, and what you're gonna do is check if they have a Facebook page, if they have an Instagram account, if they have, I don't know, a Pinterest board. Things like that will obviously let you know more whether or not this customer is present in social media and what kind of use do they give to social media. The second element we're going to focus on is how nurtured the social media platforms are. So it's very normal to appear in many different platforms. This is a very usual thing that happens, but the most important element to take into account is how nurtured these platforms are. And by nurtured we mean what's the usage these platforms have. So there's nothing wrong with having a lot of different platforms, but the best thing we can say is if you're gonna be present in any platform at all, just keep engaging, keep using it, and keep adding content. The next step is gonna be how the customer engages with their audience. So if you notice that your customer or potential customer has a very old-fashioned way of just saying what they want to say about their brand and who they are and their core values, chances are they are not as savvy. Social media has turned into a dialogue. So social media is a perfect platform in general, and it doesn't matter what platform you're talking about, but it's a great tool to kind of communicate and to interact with your audience. Very linked to that point is how you deal with negative feedback. Negative feedback is bound to happen, and there's always going to be someone who's going to rant about what you're doing in social media. They're going to maybe post something on Facebook, they're maybe going to send you a direct message that everyone can see, and how you cope and how you deal with that is actually very, very revealing to us as marketers. So if you deal with that in a very constructive way, that indicates normally that you take social media as a more of that dialogue approach that we talked about, and as a result you might be a bit more aware of how social media works and the power that social media may have. So this is how we do our research. Obviously it varies from company to company, from person to person, but this is just an indicator of what are the things that we kind of look for before starting with a new customer. So this is how we do it, but how do you do it? Please leave us a message or a comment, and we'd like to obviously interact and to learn from each other. We hope this video was helpful for you guys. Until the next time, bye.